conversation because we're taking a different beat. Normally, GMI Hub is strong on we got to help Canadians, But we have artists all around the world that are connecting with us. And tonight we're connecting with four of them. And what's really amazing, it's like we are connecting with four quarters of the world, which is really, really awesome. So I want to introduce these artists. They're all recording artists, and they're all in their own countries, in their own time zone. So it's really amazing that they're here. So I'm going to start first with Elio Alcindor. Elio is no stranger to GMI Hub. He has been involved in our artist showcases when we've done streamed him in online. We've had great conversations with him when he came into our area, and we broke bread together. And Elio is a recording artist. He's based out of Alberta, but he actually ministers right throughout North America and South America and Latin America, with because he speaks and sings in, I want to say, three different languages: English, French, Spanish. Right? Am I correct, Elio? And if so, welcome, Elio. Say hello to everybody.
Cheryl, hi there. Hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure, my privilege to be here with you again. And, and your amazing show, amazing program, amazing talk we're having tonight. And I hope, with the help of God, everything would be beneficial for everybody who's going to listen to what we have to say.
Excellent, excellent. Well, welcome, Elio. It's so great to have you
Thank you.
back.
Thank you.
And next we have, all the way from the British Isles, from the UK, it's Andrew Gonoude. We haven't had him on since last year, I think. Andrew, it's so good to have you back. We had Andrew again, also involved in one of our artist showcases. He presented some songs, and I still hear today that there are some people in our audience that say, that Andrew, he's a real worshiper, we really like his music. So Andrew, I'm so glad we're able to have you back.
Thank
Say
you so
hello to
much for having
everybody.
me. It's lovely to be back here. Really excited to be amongst you all. I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness just looking at all the cameras on my screen here. Thank you.
That's awesome. And let's see. Now we're gonna kind of fly into Africa, where we have Richard Kisembo joining us. Now, you may have seen that I was involved with the East Africa Gospel Ministry, which is a ministry that actually is training up musicians to be ministers of the gospel through their music. East Africa Gospel has a team of people, and Richard is one of them. And I believe he's also a recording artist. Richard, thank you so much for being up with us this morning for you, this evening for us. Say hello to everyone for us.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here, and I believe that the Lord is going to be, it's an amazing show. I've been going through this before, looking out, going through the show, and I'm amazed. I'm amazed, and I believe it's going to be amazing as well. Yeah, greetings
Yes.
from Africa. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. We're looking forward to hear more about that. And last but not least, I'm so excited to bring Mary Oz back on. We had her as well as part of our artist showcases. Um, if you remember, you can actually go into our YouTube site and see the artist showcase where Mary's on. I remember when she first sang her song Better Days, and she was just jamming away in the Philippines, and literally she was 12 hours away from us, and people here were jamming with her here in the room. Like, we're just clapping along and jamming with her, and she had no clue until someone sent the video back to her. So Mary, we are so thrilled to have you back with us, and I'm excited to hear what's happening with you. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much again, Cheryl, for inviting me. There was a little mishap in the invitation, the reply I sent, but I'm just glad to be able to join all of you. And I'm excited to just hear about what God is doing in each corner that we are representing here, and how he's using music to, speak to his people.
Yes, yes. Well, we are absolutely excited to have all four of you and like representing the four corners of the earth. This is really exciting. So, I'm going to open up with a question, unless Dale has a question. But my question to all of you is I want to get a feel from each one of you of of what the music atmosphere is like in your countries. For example, what is the style of music that is most prominent in the countries that you represent? Let's start with Elio. What is the style of music that's most prevalent in the countries that you represent,
Um,
which is
to,
basically North America?
okay. Yeah, literally, because I most likely sing in Spanish, they do so many genres of music. There's salsa, there's merengue, there is pop, which is a global culture. They also do CCM. Some artists do CCM. They do hip hop. They do reggaeton. There's many styles that different artists, Christian artists, they normally do. And also my own country, we do compa, we do wasin. There's many style of music that involve in North America and the entire Latin America.
Awesome, awesome. Andrew, how about you? What's the prevalent music style that's prominent in the UK area?
I would say in the UK, it's a combination of pop and rock, popular
Mhm.
culture music, radio music, but there's also an element of rock and grunge in the UK. You know, we've got something here that we call Britpop. You know, where bands like Oasis and Blur and others, you know, in the '90s were quite strong. And obviously, there's a heavy rock scene in the UK as well. So, speaking outside of the church, you know, pop and rock are probably the driving force of music that takes place at all of the big national events here in the UK.
Wow, wow. Okay. Um, Richard, how about in Uganda? Is there any particular style that's prominent in the music scene in Uganda and in Africa?
Yeah. Actually, in Uganda, we have a it's a diverse kind of tradition and modern. Um, Most commonly, we have Afrobeat, dancehall, reggae, hip hop, but we have as well Yuga pop as well. Commonly, we do traditional folk, um, zouk, a diverse of everything. But in a Christian setting, most Christian setting, we do a lot of Afrobeat and tradition folk.
Okay, okay. And Mary, how about in the Philippines, Asia area? What is the prominent music style out there, out your way?
Mhm. Well, I think mostly I think we are so much of a sponge that we take whatever is trending in the four corners of the world and we make it trend even more. So I think what's trending now in the world is pop. So
Mhm.
whatever kind of pop music that comes out, whether it be coming from the Latin America, we will take it and we will make it viral or something. We will create a dance for that, and I guess it's pop. For my country, there's what we call OPM, which is original Filipino Filipino music, and it's not a certain kind of genre per se, but it kind of takes on mostly ballads. I think love ballads, love songs. I think Filipinos are very romantic in a way, so we like writing those love songs that are explain the broken heart or something. Or but we also like our dance songs because we're very much a dancing people. So we have those EDM, our own kind of EDM, I think. And one thing I would have wanted to see is probably like more of the traditional folk, which we don't see much these days anymore. But other than that, pop. OPM and ballads and EDM dance music is something are the things that you can hear most here. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now, when you say pop, I've heard of K-pop, J-pop, all that. Is that all encompassing as pop, or is there a
Yes, I would
difference?
say, and we have an emerging P-pop, which is Filipino pop. I think is slowly emerging the past 2 years. So we're trying to rival the
Oh,
K-pop and the J-pop too. Yeah. So you
wow.
watch out. You watch
Well,
out.
That's that sounds interesting.
it does. So I'm curious, how do
But
these do these
that's probably driven. I
go
was just
ahead,
thinking
Dale.
that's probably driven from the youth and the generation of the young people.
Yeah.
They're trying
Yeah.
more or less they're buying or consuming that type of material.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
very much.
exactly.
Yeah, we patronize actually the Asian, um, other Asian cultures more than ours, and I'm just glad that we're coming out with our own kind of pop. The past 2 years, I think, the past 3 years, so that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So how do these styles, thinking about all those styles, how do they affect your songwriting? Like, how does that affect what you write or how you write your music and share the gospel? Do I start with Elio again and going around in circles?
But basically, it's not only in the Philippines. It's whatever is trending somehow affects what you're doing because you don't want to be completely out of the time, even though we are doing song in a different ways. We are doing it to exalt the name, glorify the name of the Lord. But at the same time, we have to understand there is a public, there are people who want to listen to what we're doing, so we have to kind of focus on the trending moment. There was a time it was mostly gospel music. If you most people will be doing more mostly gospel. Now it's most likely pop, CCM. It's that kind of music that's trending. So whenever we have to do songs, we have to think about, not limited to, but we have to think about what is trending in that particular moment
Mm.
without
And how
without losing our originality either, because
Right.
it's
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
it's yes, it's cantautor or it's a writer or singer. They have their own style. You don't want to like go to do salsa while you don't like salsa, you don't sing salsa, or because salsa is trending. No, you want to do something that doesn't go far away from your originality either.
and that's
Yeah, yeah.
true. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
we've been talking about that for music writers that they have to have authenticity, because that will make the best with their music.
That's key.
That is key. But with these different styles, though, does this affect how you write your music and how you like what comes out of you? Do you find that?
But
So,
in
for
my
example,
case,
yeah,
yeah, obviously, because what is trending is what you're listening to, right? So because you feeding yourself with so many new things, so many songs that are trending, so somehow it's reflected on what you're putting out. It's like let's see in the term of like Apple, for example. Apple, they do their own phone, but they have to see what Samsung is doing. I don't want to be far behind. I have to do something that is competitive enough. So maintaining my authenticity, but at the same time, create a new thing that is not far away of what is trending. So definitely they affected us, but in my case, it's very important that I keep myself who I am, what God wants me to do.
amen, amen. Andrew, what are your thoughts on that? Does the style of music that's prominent affect how you write?
I think for me personally, um, what I really glean is songwriting tips, and I listen to styles, and I latch on to people who write their own music. People like Ed
Hmm.
Sheeran, for example, a guitarist, a Brit.
Hmm.
Um, not a Christian as far as I know, but what he sings and writes is his own stuff. And he plays acoustic guitar solo and fills entire stadiums with 90,000 people who are on their feet cheering. And he does it with a whole loop system and one guitar, and I kind of follow his songwriting and his artistry. I look at the way he plays his guitar, and I look for tips and tricks, but it doesn't really influence my overall songwriting style, because for me that's kind of something that comes from being in an audience of one, being with the
Right.
Lord, and I don't really allow popular culture to influence me too much. But if I hear something that's written well, and I think, oh, I like the way you phrased that, and the way you referenced this, and then poetically linked it to that, those kind of things I will pick up on. And there are other
Mhm.
songwriters as well who do that, and I listen to some of their stuff, but I try and keep away from a lot of it, because personally, it's an area that I don't want to dwell in too long.
Yeah, I can understand, but that's interesting. You pick up some of the creative based on the lyrics. It sounds like the word associations and the lyrics more so
Yeah.
than the music style. Is that right? Interesting, very
Yes, indeed,
interesting.
because the popular music style and the culture that I described that is in England is not my personal style, but it's what
Right.
exists, and it's what people are buying and listening to and going to sell out concerts in the UK to listen to. So
Wow. Wow. Okay, how about in Uganda? Richard, talk to us. Does the style of music that is prominent in Uganda or in Africa affect how you write your music?
Yeah. Just like how Mary was describing this, I think trending is everywhere. Trending is everywhere in different continents. People pick up different ways on how it is. But basically, in Uganda, to be specific, um, from her history, our writing of music is actually based on about 3 or 4 things. It is based on personal experience, based on
Mhm.
relatable experience, and most of storytelling. So you will discover that because of different styles that are coming in, different genes that are in, it is easier because of how people have been writing up their music. It's basically storytelling, it's basically personal, relatable. So it is as easy as someone, you know, getting, if it is Afrobeat, nowadays they fuse it into Afrobeat pop, fuse it with Zouk, digest it out. So it becomes easier because their writing is based on storytelling. So kind of, yeah.
Interesting.
Right.
Very interesting. And Mary, the styles of music that exist in the pop culture of
Mm.
of the Philippines and Asia, does that affect how you write your music?
Surprisingly, I'm with Andrew. Like I turn on the radio when I drive, and there's only one Christian radio station in my city, so that's the one I listen to the most. But when I turn into other radio stations, I wouldn't really say I can. I like listening to the kind of music that's more pop, more dance, more. So I feel like it's not the kind of music that I am making, or that I want to make, or that I even want to listen to. So I would say that the way I write is not um, directly affected by that. I'm more kind of going against the flow to what's trending in my country, I think I would say. But I would pick up on what Richard said, that there there's a and what Andrew said, that there are things that when people write about personal stuff, as a songwriter, those are things that I tend to pick up on. And I guess for me personally, what I write about is what's happening in my circle, personally, and how I can bring God's hope, and even the truth, or even just being able to allow them to express what they're going through that they may not be able to express, and just be able to put that into a song and comfort hearts. So not so that is not so much in what is popular in my country, the music that is popular in my country right now, but there are some who do write about those things, especially broken hearts. And people love writing about broken hearts in my country. I don't know why, but I think that's a good personal kind of a singer songwriter music that is probably one of the things that I like here in my country.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that
It's
might be
This
a common global thing is the broken hearts.
Yeah.
I think that might be a common
Yeah.
thing in a
yeah,
global. But
yeah,
I'm wondering
yeah.
about a cultural instrument, like an instrumentation that may be more cultural for your particular part of the world. Do you utilize that? Does that come into play? Is it something that you would use as an instrument in your arrangement?
For me personally, I have tried
All of you,
actually. I
yeah.
guess it depends on the. Oh, okay. I guess it would depend
no,
on the
go,
kind of
Mary.
song. If it's something that I feel would be so speak culturally, I mean about the Filipino culture, I will always hear those kind of music, those kind of instruments in the background. So I would try to use that as much,
Mhm.
and I guess as a mission too, because we have not even touch those. I mean, I see a lot of videos in the UK or where in Scotland where they use bagpipes everywhere, and it's still very prevalent in this day and age. Unfortunately, for my country, we don't use our um, indigenous musical instruments anymore in any kind of music. So I hope that we do find the songs, we do write the songs that can still bring these into popular culture. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Richard, how about you?
Anyone else?
Basically, here in Africa, I think it depends on um, the kind of song that you're writing. The, actually, the basement or the I would say the roots of what you're trying to write on. Do you understand me? You
Yeah.
relate basing on what you're writing. So, whatever instrument that you bring out or you pull out just depends on what you're writing on or what you're trying to put up for. Um, basically,
Okay. Okay. Andrew, instruments.
Instruments, what, in my country or for me personally? Sorry, what was the question?
With the, I
Well,
think
it's like
Gail
how
asked.
does the instrumentation of your culture influence what the arrangement of your song?
Gotcha. Right. Okay. I think for me, growing up, I did like a lot of bands that played guitar. I won't name them, but before I became a Christian, I followed a lot of rock bands and a lot of guitar players. Some acoustic, some electric, some both. So I think some of those influences made me want to be a guitarist even before I became one. And when I did become a guitarist, some of the styles that I remembered from my youth and my early days, watching these artists on TV, I remember wanting to play like those styles. Fingerstyle guitar, for example, was something that was quite important for me early on, and I started playing guitar at weddings in my early 20s, and I would play fingerstyle classical guitar, and I'd heard other people play it, and I'd heard Christians playing that when I first became a Christian, and that really influenced me quite strongly. And I didn't just pick up a plectrum and just start strumming. I decided to learn fingerstyle, and I decided to learn how to play a guitar like you would play a piano. One hand doing bass, one hand doing chords and trebles, and one hand doing notes, and one hand, rather than just strumming chords like some guitarists do. So some of my early influences before I became a Christian and before I became a musician probably influenced me in the way I would become a guitar player. I wanted to emulate this style in my writing. So without even thinking about it, I probably liked the fingerstyle work of, say, Segovia or John Williams or Eric Clapton, even, some of his fingerstyle work on guitar. And probably all my youth and in my younger days, I probably heard that, listened to it, liked it. And then when I became a Christian, surreptitiously I wanted to, invest in playing fingerstyle guitar. So perhaps those kind of influences have affected me without me really paying too much attention to it, or consciously at least.
Wow, that's cool. Elio, let's hear from you. How about you? Instrumentation. Oh,
In
Dale
my
has to say the
in
question
my
again.
Yep. In my case, I would say also it's depend on what kind of music I want to, because I've been doing different styles. So depend on the style I'm doing, that will involve different kind of instrument that will influence to the product I'm trying to do. And also it depends also on the producer, because I've been working with producers who love gospel music. So whatever song they produce for you, they try to put so much gospel related instrument into the song. And you say, okay. And then you to work with a Latin producer, they try to put most of the guitar and not much of the piano. I just want just a very low level piano, but most guitar and so it depends on what kind of song I'm doing, and depend also which producer I choose to put to make arrangement for that particular song. So the final product will depend on discussion between me and the producer about, okay, do you want me to put that? Do you want me? Can I add that, etc. So I don't have any preference per se. As soon as the song, the final product, it's because before you have the song recorded, you have it in you have an idea how you want the song to be sound like. You have an idea the sound of the song. You say, oh, I want it to sound like that. I want it to be like orchestral. I want it to be classical. I want it to be gospel. And then when you present it to the producer, you give the producer an idea what you want it to be. But I find that producer always have a big say on instruments to put on the song more than I do.
Wow. As long as you have a say, that's good.
Yeah, I do. I do have a
I
say
think,
always.
I think it's
Wonderful.
also important as an artist to have a say on the instruments that you have to put in your song. And
Yeah.
here in Africa, being specific in Uganda, I realized that many of the artists uh, go in the studio, they know this type of the song, or they know the kind of lyrics that they want to put in the song, but they don't know instruments or what they want to put in the song. And I think it's as well as dangerous, because you ought to communicate through instruments as well. So you ought to go to a studio understanding that these are the kind of instruments that I need in this song.
Yeah.
And you give your producer, okay, you may not know each and everything about it, but if you have an idea, then it sounds
Yeah.
better.
And I have a lot of
Yeah.
producers also. They always ask you, can you give me two song of reference? That you want that song to sound like. So with instrument, no, just to guide them. And if you want something with heavy piano, heavy bass, and you just pick up a song that you say, okay, I'm looking for the instrument to be that in that kind of song to be in my song. But I think producers have a lot of to do, and when it comes to instrument, they have to put in the song.
That's true. Um, okay, let's talk about opportunities. Um, in your respective countries, how much, what opportunities exist for you all to share your music? Is it mostly in churches, or do you have other invitations, I guess, to share your music? Oh, who should I pick? Andrew, we didn't hear from you. Andrew.
Okay, I think in my particular country, the Christian music scene doesn't really have much of a public outlet. Unless you pay to go to concerts at churches or at village halls, you're not really going to hear Christians singing much at all, because there aren't really many venues or many opportunities. Particularly where I live, in the south part of England, there's not really much going on. I live in a small town. There's not really any Christian presence in terms of live music or opportunities to sing. There's no open mic nights really at all. So most of what I do is either in my own house or in church or with other people. in Christian environments. So it's a shame because I see and hear of people, saying, "Oh, I was in Nashville and I did a co-write with 6 people here, and then I did a singing session with a 20-piece orchestra, and then I went to play guitar at some other session, and they were saying if you walk down the street in Nashville, there is venue after venue lined up, restaurants, bars, concert halls where everybody is just singing every single night, and I'm like, my gosh, why don't we do that in England? We don't have those opportunities, sadly.
Believe me, I think a lot of people here in Canada feel the exact same way.
Yeah, yeah. This is why we are working hard to change that culture around here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about with you, Mary? I forgot my question. Opportunities, yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of
I
opportunities?
guess it's the same there in the UK too. There's not much opportunities for Christian music to be performed live here. There might have been, but very little. And I guess unless you have a name, then you can be invited. I guess it will always be by invitation. So I guess in all my years, the 4 years that I've been releasing music, it's probably one time last year. But I mean that's progress. So I was invited to sing my songs to in an event. Other than that, bars and other opportunities to gig usually would ask you to sing popular songs, and like I said again in the beginning, those would be alternative rock, pop songs, ballads, and that's usually what people prefer to listen to. And here, that is here in my city. But however, in the capital, which is an hour flight away from where I am, there's a bustling singer-songwriter, community there that they have probably like weekly events, weekly singer-songwriter sharing events, and that's when they get together and just perform. And I mean, it is tempting to attend all of that, but I mean, it is costly to fly weekly. Not, I would love to join them maybe once a year or something like that. But other than that, I mean, I love how they've encouraged singer-songwriters there, and I hope that the same thing would be in my city too. Yeah, and to think that the capital is Manila, Cebu is the second capital of the country, and there's a big disparity in the kind of support that singer-songwriters or even just the music scene, how it is here and how it is there. So, well, I hope that I guess that in the near future we'd have a strong singer-songwriter community here too that supports these kinds of music too, and even Christian music.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
absolutely.
Yeah, I was wondering, is there ever an opportunity for some of the people that are here in our local area would just find a corner of a street somewhere and set up and do a little free show? Is there ever an opportunity to do that in some of your areas as well?
Can I answer?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Busking. Busking is something I've always looked
Yeah.
forward to. I want to try that. It is sort of there is a community. There are events like that in the capital. However, not so much in my city too. So as much as I would love to be able to bus, I got the opportunity to busk, though it was by invitation last year, which is progress, I guess. Again, I'm thanking God for.
Mhm.
But really, there is not that that much happening here. Busking, yeah.
Mm. That sounds like more that's happening here. Like Elio, do you find that? Did you find that there's opportunities for
Yeah.
you to minister?
In my case, I have to speak in two different ways. In Canada and
Yes.
Latin America. Latin America, there's a lot of opportunities. I've been traveling a lot in different places because I sing in Spanish in different countries, a lot of invitations. Nevertheless, there is a factor of resources. Most of the churches they want to invite you, they they say, okay, that's going to be expensive to bring you over. Except if you are a very famous artist, they know they're going to make a big show, they will get a lot of money. But a person at my level, they will tell you, okay, I'm going to spend $5,000 to bring you to Argentina, for example. This is where they come in conversation with you. We want to have you here, but we don't have the $5,000. This is where, if you find grants, if you find resources, you can apply them and use them to go there, and you will find yourself singing like 5, 6, 7 shows in a weekend. So you can go to TV, to radio station, to churches, to big events. That's easier. But in Canada, it's a little bit different. You know more than I do, Cheryl and Dale. You know, in Canada, the things are a little bit, I don't know. It's like very slow, very, it's a different situation. What we have done, we have Canada Gospel Production, which we work with. We try to create our own events. So we invite international artists, we invite national artists to put them together, do an event. So to boost Canadian artists, to boost at the same time, we take advantage of the international artists, in the sense like they are well-known artists, and then we put them together with Canadian artists to do events. But so far, it's going slowly. It progress is That's something that is progressing, especially in Calgary. I think Toronto and Montreal, it might be better. Vancouver even better, but Calgary, it's still like slow. But we have faith, because it is really frustrated when you have somebody that God give a message to transmit to people, and then, because lack of resources, lack of when I say resources of all kind, it can be economic, it can be, you don't find an event to perform, you etc. It can be very frustrated for artists. So and I think Canada is a little bit different, a little bit difficult, but we have faith. We keep working hard, and one day we can say, okay, we can get to a certain level that thing can get much better, because we have so many talented people here, so many, so many. I was in shock. Uh, with the amount of Canadian Christian artists we have, all kinds, from country music, gospel music, CCM, all kind of music, so talented. The only thing, the frustration every single one is it's the resources. Find a platform to perform, find a platform, and the money to do so. Because when they travel with band, you have to pay the musician, you have to pay. So it's complicated, but yeah, it's I think we're getting there. We're praying, we keep praying, we keep working hard, and hopefully that thing can change here. Same in Canada and for UK and Philippines, because we have a hard work to do. The enemy is putting a lot of people with songs that have messages to destroy young people, to destroy kids. We have songs that to edify people, and we cannot put the message out. That the part that is most frustrated for me. Because I think we should keep praying, keep working hard, because we have good message, positive message to transfer to people for the soul, message to save them, save life, message. That's so important that we do the best we can, so this message can go out to these people who don't know, most likely people who don't know Christ, or people who facing hard situation.
Yeah.
So how does social media or those social platforms come into play in your countries? How much are they utilized, and do you see people utilizing them for their music?
Richard, let's hear from you.
Yeah. So maybe beginning on the opportunities that we have here. We have a lot of opportunities here in Uganda. Basically, nearly every weekend, or being particular on Sundays. If you're an artist, you can do more than 7, 8 shows. Um,
Wow.
but as relating to Elio as well, if you have a big name, you can perform on the bigger shows. If your name is there in the middle, then you can as well. It depends on who knows you here. But we have opportunities there, either for the upcoming artists or for the artists that have made them and made there. They have opportunities. Now, diving to the social media platforms, Yeah, I think 85% of people in Uganda utilize social media, but it's unfortunate that that platform is not helping out per se. If I might be right, it's not helping out musically, being specifically gospel music. Um, it's a pity that in Uganda social media is so used wrongly, vulgarly. So that's a fight
Mhm.
that we are having over here. That social media is used wrongly. Yeah.
Wow. Did you say they use it for I'll say vulgar or very wrong things, like just it, obviously not to promote the gospel message, but to promote negative things? Is that what
Yeah.
social media is being used?
Yeah. It's basically onto negative things. You hear that people basically do vulgar things. They promote their own things. If you bring out something like gospel or gospel music, kalas, there's nothing you can do.
Wow. Wow.
I
We
think,
got to pray for that to change.
yeah,
Yes.
That's
yeah.
true. That's true. That's true.
I think in general, social media, it's very important. But as our friend said, if somebody do a video who's very vulgar, they have millions and millions of views, and
Mm,
but when you do something that for the gospel music, it takes time, it's harder. People are not that interested. And I think it's a it,
yeah.
I think it's everywhere, but it's yeah.
Yeah, but one thing that maybe we can look as well, being particular here in Uganda, um, people in church, they've started copying what they're saying there because they want as well to get a view. So
Mhm.
you realize that even the so-called pastors, you hear them engaging themselves into this because they want to get a
Yeah,
following. So it's a pity. It's a pity that something needs to be prayed for.
too bad, too
Mm,
bad.
Absolutely.
wow.
Yes, indeed.
Do you find the same in England, Andrew? The social media, how does that affect the music scene there?
I think social media, in collaboration with streaming platforms, has completely taken over the music scene that I used to know. When I first became a
Mm.
Christian, I was 18, and it was in the late 80s, and I started learning guitar and playing guitar in 89, 88, 89. And in those days, everybody bought CDs or tapes or LP records. Um, there was no internet, there was no streaming platform, and going to live gigs, going to venues was quite commonplace. And I remember where I lived, there was Christian concerts in my city every week, and there was events going on in the town, in the city where I lived, in East Anglia, a city called Peterborough. And there was always music events. There was always concerts at various venue halls everywhere, because it was the only real way to hear people you've not heard before, unless you invested in their vinyl record or their tape. You went to see them at a concert. There was no streaming platform. There was no social media. So I think the world we live in now is kind of a double-edged sword for people like me, because when I first started out playing in church and becoming a worship leader and a singer and started songwriting in my 20s, there was no way I could enter a recording studio and make a record. No way I could do that. But there was plenty of opportunity to hear other people and to go to concerts and venues. Now it seems to be the other way around. Excuse me.
Mm,
Now we have, where I live, there's very little venues to go to, very little live events happening in a 50-mile radius from where I live. But there is a wealth of streaming activity online, so much opportunities for collaboration, so many Facebook groups and
mhm.
music platform groups and co-writing opportunities. Mary and I are part of a group called Kingdom Music Academy, and they show you how to record and how to release music, and it's been wonderful for me and folks like Mary and others that we know, because it's the only way we can really learn how to release music and begin to do it. When I first started, it was all live concerts and venues and people buying LP records and cassette tapes and then later CDs. But folks like maybe Mary and myself and others would have never had the opportunity to do that because we didn't have the money. We didn't have thousands of pounds to rent expensive studios. But it's kind of a double-edged sword now because the live music scene is virtually gone unless you go to big cities like London to go to a very big venue. But on the other hand, social media and streaming platforms have made it very accessible for writers like myself and others to begin to learn to do this stuff. I mean, I had 119 countries listening to my music in 2024. And there's no way I could have reached 119 countries even in the 90s, even if I could afford the recording studios and to make those vinyl records and cassette tapes that we had in those days. So it's rather a juxtaposition, for me. There's many good things about the current culture I live in, many bad things that I don't like about it. I'm not a fan of streaming platforms. But on the other hand, even though they pay you, a fraction of a penny per stream, actually, I get my music to go all around the world, and I get people contacting me from all over the world saying, that song really spoke to my situation. Thank you so much for writing it. It's totally blessed me. I was in tears listening to that song. Somebody in India or Pakistan said that to me, 6 months ago, and I was like, wow, God, this is why I want to do what I want to do. I'm not interested in earning pennies on social media or a few pennies on Spotify. I'm interested in touching people's lives. So it is a bit of a double-edged sword, I think, the current culture we live in. Very different to where I started.
Yeah, and you know what? That was probably really became prominent during COVID. Back in 2020 into 2022. It was just
2020.
very. Was it 2020? Okay, yeah. That became prominent. How many artists who were told they cannot go out and perform live anywhere all of a sudden were locked in their homes, and basically the only avenue or the only outlet they had was to go online and go, I'm going to play a few songs for you today, kind of idea. And it was actually kind of funny. I knew one Canadian artist, he decided to do a tour of his house. And he goes, I'm doing the tour today. So today's concert's going to be in the bathroom. And he'd play a bunch of songs in the bathroom. And he goes, and the next day, today's concert's going to be in the bedroom. And he'd start playing there. And today's concert's going to be in the kitchen. And he'd start playing there. I mean, that was the way he handled the social media and playing online. But I think that whole 2 years where we were told we can't go anywhere and we can't play live, and the entertainment industry really got affected by that. That's probably what caused that double-edged sword. But it's almost like, if I can bring a biblical perspective, it's almost like, persecution of the church. When Jesus left, when he ascended and he told his disciples, wait until the Holy Spirit comes. Holy Spirit came, and people were in a sense empowered to share the gospel. They became the church, and then persecution hit and they scattered. And the scattering, you would think, oh my goodness, that means that the word can't be they can't be spread anymore because everyone's scattered. It doesn't matter. But that scattering caused the growth of the message to go forth. So again, a double-edged sword. In this case, it was the social media. But Mary, what about you? We haven't heard from you in a little bit. How has social media affected music in your area?
Yeah, I guess continuing what you were saying, that we saw the growth of our music through social media during the pandemic. I would also say that, like the double-edged sword that Andrew was talking about, there was also growth in negative things that were just propagating through social media, and I think somehow that outweighs whatever Christian music has made. I would say that is in my country. I don't know if it is in the same in your corner of the world, but my country is probably the leading number of social media users. I think that's the Philippines. I think we topped that, and everybody's just coming out with different contents, and not all things are good. Probably negative things are more propagating than the good things. But I guess I would say I hope that us coming out bravely, and I would say bravely for myself because I would never come out with anything actually before the pandemic. I guess this is just a new kind of courage that God has given me to, sing, even if it's just in a social media platform. But I hope that as we come out bravely, we would put a dent into all that that is prevalent, that is not good. And I guess with that dent, I hope that we can inject the hope of Christ, the peace of Christ, the love of Christ into that area, the big area. And I guess that's just me and my hope for my music. And hopefully, I would have more courage to use social media. I know that I have not used social media in the most as much as I can. I guess there's still that fear. I'm not as much of a performer as many artists are who are taking advantage of social media. And I guess for us, since it is a free platform, and since for me in my country, there in my city, there isn't that many live opportunities to perform live. So I hope that I guess we can take advantage of that and just speak truth, speak love, and in these platforms, and hopefully, you know, the 119 countries that Andrew's music has been taken to, and I guess there's more countries to infiltrate. I guess, and we just reach more hearts, hundreds and thousands of hearts, billions of hearts, and hopefully even China. Hopefully our music will get to China and
Yes.
bring God's message there. Yeah.
Amen.
Amen. Mhm.
Amen.
I was wondering,
I'm
as we talk about all the concerns and potentially challenges that we meet around the world, is there any place in that is encouraging and helping and journeying with artists? Is there some like that you're aware of? Is there an organization or a Christian scene that's trying to? I think Elio, you have the CMA. You could tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. We are working with Canada Gospel Production. As I mentioned before, what we do, we try to bring over artists that are already, at certain level, the artists that well known, and to put them together with artists that trying to build their career, because we have seen so many testimonies of so many we have heard so many frustration for many artists. They have very great amazing works, but they haven't been able to put it out there. Even social media, in order for some people to listen to your song on YouTube, they have to know that YouTube exists. If they don't know that your YouTube channel doesn't exist, how are they going to listen to it? So we have seen
Hmm.
people with amazing works, but they cannot. When I listen to them, I say, "What make a difference? Any difference than any other big artists I have heard out there?" Um, if you want to put your song on radio station, a lot of them ask for money, so it's a lot of frustration for them. And so we created that organization just to see if we can help out. So what artists can do, they just contact us. They say, okay, this is what we'll be doing. If there is any opportunity for us to perform in your event, so we try to put as many as we can, but at the same time we cannot have 20 in one event, and we cannot do event every weekend. But we've been doing that. And also other way we're trying to do is through the awards, because I, I, I probably I will probably be too realistic with what I'm saying. When you see a lot of awards, they just give it awards to one kind of person having five, six, seven, and repeat it every year after year after year, and they don't open door. It's like there is a closed circle for in awards. Believe it or not, create an opportunity for people to know. Somebody win a Grammy, everybody want to start Google about who's that person, what kind of song that person sing. Somebody win a Dove Awards or Stellar Awards, or what kind any kind of big awards, everybody's want to know about them. So, but at the same time, it's the same name repeated and repeated over and over again. So, what we're trying to do, we are trying to do in our words that really recognize the talent of people who still doing good work, but with a lot of frustration because they don't have the opportunity that others have. We appreciate the work that big artists are doing, but at the same time, we want to be like a help, a help for those artists that are suffering so much. Because for me, the frustration, because I'm telling you, I keep repeating it because I've been having a lot of conversation with different artists. They have different kind of frustration, and you put them in a very good situation to sing. They will minister to people as any other artist, but the problem is like they don't have the platform. I know they're not doing it for that, but
Mm.
the Bible say you don't do anything with the light if you put it under your bed, right? You have to put it to shine. So if God give you something to
Yeah.
do, that's my old translation,
Yeah.
by the way. So if God give you a song,
Hmm.
the idea is not for you to sing it over and over again. It's because there's somebody who will be listening to your song, who will find solution to a problem, to a heartbroken situation. It's for a reason. So more people we can expose, the
Hmm.
better it could be for our community. And lastly, I do think if we have many Christian artists putting many songs out there, we can contradict or fight all the bad song that the enemy has his own artists putting out there. Because I have my own kids, I want them to be listening Christian song instead of spending time singing, listen to other people's song that not doing anything for them, but this is what they hear in the radio,
Hmm.
this is what they hear in the and when they go to YouTube. So if we can support more artists to do more songs and create more content, I think it will be beneficial for the kingdom of God. So basically we are here
No,
to help.
you are on the same page. You and I and Cheryl and the GMI Hub are on the same page, and we really appreciate that so
Yeah,
much.
but this is why I really like what you all are doing with GMI. We really like it, and every time that she will tell me we want you to be here, I say I'm here, and I always keep in touch to update. Yeah, because I know the reason behind it. The reason is not because I want to
Mm,
be famous. Fairwood want to be famous. Dale want to be famous. Cheryl husband want to be famous. There's nothing like that behind it. It's just we want to
yeah.
produce more positive content. We need amount of positive, because the young kids, instead of taking gun and killing kids in school or doing the bad thing out there, drug, everything, we should be able. My kids are consuming music all the time. They always have headset in their ear listening to
Hmm.
music.
Hmm.
I say thank to God because I teach them they have to listen Christian songs. I don't want them
Hmm.
to listen anything that is not Christian. But the other kids that don't have that opportunity to have a parent who are Christian, parents who are Christians. So, but if we invade social media, invade YouTube, invade radio station with Christian content, good content, for them to
Hmm.
attract young people, most likely, we will be doing the good thing for the kingdom of God. Oh God, that's my goal.
Uh, yeah, I agree. And it's funny how we always find the word provoke maybe as a
Yeah,
negative thing, provoke people to anger, but
yeah,
provoking people could also be done provoking them to love and
yeah,
provoking
yeah,
them to understand the love of God.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Richard, you also have a ministry. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we do East African gospel. Basically, like Elio was saying, that we are facing a lot of challenge in Uganda, whereby we have many artists that are there. They have good songs, they don't have platform to exercise their songs, to exercise their talent out there. And as East African gospel, we stand out to say, this is a time to say we have a challenge in Uganda whereby you take your songs to media platform, those are the radios and TV, and you're not given a platform, you're not given an ear about it because you don't have a name there. So we're trying to see how can we teach these guys on the basics first of Christian basis, that is being Christ centered into it. Then as well, how do we see that these people get different opportunities in different angles? And that's where social media comes in. Say, hey, we can do this. We can see how we can shoot from here to there. and see how we can help one another and see where we can move on. So basically, that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Beautiful.
And Cheryl, maybe you want to speak to what's coming up with us or what we're doing, but we are really humbly wishing to work with other artists to give them an opportunity, to give them a platform, a literal platform to actually stand on a stage and perform. We've been doing that for several years with our showcases, helping artists. If you get a chance to our YouTube channel, if you go, you'll see some of our showcases are actually being broadcast. You'll have a chance to see what we actually do. We have up and coming events coming up. One of my favorite things is Hub Fest, and I'm excited about that. That's our Canada Day celebration, and we invite all of our friends to come together, and we sing, and we have a lot of fun, and we lift the name of Jesus on Canada Day, and so that's exciting. So Cheryl, do you want to speak to that?
Absolutely. Our heart, well, you said it pretty much with HubFest. Our heart really is calling our country back to the original, what it was originally standing on. And that was the original heart behind it. And so um, we were thrilled to bring artists together and give them the opportunity to share their music. The artist showcases that you spoke to before, as I said earlier, Andrew and Mary, you had that experience where we literally streamed you in to our artist showcases and had you guys play right from where you are, right? And like, and it was amazing because, and this is where I would say the positive side, or where we took the what was probably meant for evil, we turned it for good, which is we took that opportunity to use social media and say, let's share this music and let's get these artists to share it. I mean, I could easily call Andrew, go, Andrew, can you send me your music so I can sing it? Or Mary, can you send me your music so I can sing it? It's not about me. It's about you all sharing what God has downloaded to you. And I believe how you communicate that will reaches artists, reaches different people in different ways. It touches hearts in such special ways that even if I were to try and communicate your music, I wouldn't touch those same hearts, you know? And so we loved bringing that in. We've actually been trying to figure out if we're going to do another artist showcase. And just as I'm talking to you, it's like, oh, I almost want to bring you all back in again and just get you all singing, you know, kind of idea. And just have another one just to build that opportunity, because that is one of the things that we want to do. As well, similar to Elio. Now, Elio said he's doing an award show to help encourage these artists that are frustrated. We too we've broken bread, Elio, over this, and we said, yeah, we're hearing all these frustrations, and how do we answer them all? And literally, GMI Hub fills holes. That's how we feel like we're filling holes, and we ended up, we had no plans of doing a conference and an award show, and lo and behold, the opportunity came where it seemed like everything else was falling apart, and there was this window of time where it seemed like the artists, at least here in Ontario, were frustrated, and they were going, what's there for us, what's there for us? And then and finally we said, okay, we will do something similar. So we are also doing a conference and an award show in August 15th and 16th. And our goal with that is to acknowledge not just the emerging artists that in their art, but also encourage them in their journey. So our goal with that is, you know, all through these years that we've existed, we've tried to equip artists to do um, uh, to navigate the music industry so it better suits them. So they learn things like how to register their music, how to market themselves, and so forth. And we want to acknowledge those artists that actually take that into consideration. Go, yeah, this is what I've done, and we want to award them and say, you're a great example. You're a great example, and this is not. And contrary to I'm going to kind of camp a little bit of what Elio said. Sometimes we give the awards to the same people, and the attitude towards the award ends up being, and this is the elite group, and you have to be at our level in order to reach us. Well, I had the pleasure of being in a conversation, no, not in a conversation, overhearing in a webinar, and I loved what this. I think it was a music supervisor. What he said. He basically said, as artists, we're always looking for someone better than us and higher than us to help us move along. But hey, we better be looking down to help somebody else.
Yes.
Who are we
Yes.
bringing along? And that is
That's
how
right.
our music in Christendom and gospel music scene, that is how we're gonna end up building. We need to come together. The pillars of GMI Hub are unity, community, mentorship, talent growth. The fact that I have all of you here should be a symbol of the unity that we want to bring. We want to join hands with you. We've already joined hands with East African Gospel. I've had opportunity to communicate with the students there who are enthusiastic about hearing how God can use them and learning more about how they can share their music. And I'm hoping, Samson, I hope you're okay with me coming back and visiting online. We partner with Elio. As we hear, like he reached out to me and goes, hey, let's get unified because you know Elio is reaching artists that we're not reaching, and he's even going straight down into Latin America
Mhm.
and helping those artists, recognizing there's a need around the world. So we're hand in hand with Elio as well, and supporting him as he supports us. So we're hoping this will
Right,
be
and
a
you can
unity
basically
thing.
Yeah.
see, right, you can basically see what Cheryl is saying. The GMI Hub is not really about us.
Yeah.
It's about trying to connect everybody together. The word of the hub is that illustration you see in our little icon right there to the side of Cheryl. There is bringing them all together. It's not about us. We have a kingdom mindset about this. It's not about
Yeah.
us. It's about everyone in the kingdom of God working together to move forward.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
and this is what I like about GMI Hub because I can see that. You don't even have to repeat it. I have a proof that I can tell everybody watching or I experimented. I have a great experience with all of you and I have seen that. And I want to add something um, for my friend from Africa. We have categories from African categories. We have Caribbean categories. We have a lot of categories for the awards. It's a little bit too late now because everybody already sent their files but please keep your eyes next year. So every artist in Africa, we don't look at the name for voting. We look at what they're doing. This is what we have a pool of people who vote in, and we tell them don't look at name. It's not because they are a friend or that. We want you to listen to what they're doing and give the qualification based on the work they're doing. So I really next year want to see a lot of people from Uganda, a lot of people from other places in Africa because this is why we have an African categories just for them.
See,
Wow.
there you go. And
Well, I think
we
as
have
East
an
African
international.
gospel, we can do
Yeah.
everything. As
Yeah.
East African gospel, I think that's a good opportunity as well, to bring out to different artists within Uganda and as
Hmm.
Africa as well, because African gospel, we are not centered only in Uganda, but we look at different artists from different countries. So it's a good opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, I want to give Andrew and Mary a chance as well. Are there any initiatives out your way? I know you said that there's doesn't seem to be, but are there any initiatives to help Christian artists out your way um, in your different countries? Mary, I know you said in another city, but in your country or in your city, I mean. Oh, speak. We need to hear you.
Did you mute your microphone? Did you?
I think
Yeah.
okay. I'll let you work on
Yeah.
your audio,
All right, we
Mary.
can't
I
hear you.
think something. yeah, something got changed. So I hope you can work on your audio there. Andrew, why don't you let us know? Are there any opportunities whatsoever in your area?
Not that I know of in England, particularly. In some of the bigger cities, there are churches that work together to put on live events and to put shows together. I know of one or two folks in the UK who travel to Scotland for a summer festival because a big church event goes on up there, and they put on a free concert and invite everybody for free of charge, and they have Christian musicians and singers traveling locally, but also they've got folks coming from England and Ireland even, flying over to take part. So there are a few minor initiatives, but they're not very well publicized, and unless you really are in the circle of people who are going to these things, I don't really know how much you would really get to know about them. So I very much value that double-edged sword that I described earlier. I value the internet, and I value the music, platform groups that I am a part of, because they actually enable me to find out about things and to collab with people and to get involved in events. So one of the international Facebook groups that I'm a part of, called Kingdom Music Academy, the English folks have tried to get together once or twice and had a catch up in the UK, somewhere in England. So when that happens again, I'm going to try and go to it. And I know it happens in America and Canada quite a lot, but in England that's quite a big deal. So any opportunity to get together will be good. But generally speaking, there aren't many that I know of, and that probably is because I live in a small town and I don't get a lot of publicity for that sort of thing where I live.
I hear you. Well, I do hope that there will be opportunities to get together. Sounds like, Mary, you've got your audio back.
Is it back? Oh no, it is. I'm so sorry about
It
that.
is. That's okay.
Yeah.
Any opportunities in your area at all?
Not in my city again. But there is a community they've built during the pandemic. It's called Philcom, which is a Filipino Christian composers, which they've started, I guess, pre-pandemic, and they've just grown so much during the pandemic. I am a part of the group. I'm a member of the group, at least, though I've not been able to take part in their activities since it's in the capital. Apart from that, I guess that's just here in my country. There are some producers who are Christian producers, who are big name producers who've written, songwriters who've written for big artists here. Uh, upon his invitation, we've been able to come up with a Christian album, a Filipino Christian album. We were really hoping that the churches would, sing in their worship, include in their worship lineup. And I guess for me, I'm just glad to be able to take part in that opportunity, to be part of the album and just write songs for the churches here. Other than that, I don't know of any other, but I guess globally, like what Andrew mentioned, KMA, we're part of KMA, and that, yes, we've grown a decent confidence in my songwriting, and I guess in being an artist. And other social media event opportunities that I've been able to sing, been invited to sing, would be kind of like a Reds. I don't know if you've heard of Reds Entertainment, where they have twice a week worship night, and Crazy Blessed Worship is another platform where I've been able to join, and I guess they also have another worship night every week. And apart from that, I guess those are just the ones that I've been able to take part of, that I'm just really grateful, because these are the opportunities that I'm lacking in my country, but I'm being able to share these songs and be heard in the rest of the world, even if it's not in my country.
Yeah.
And that's encouraging to hear that. We're really blessed to hear that. I think that the really interesting thing is you're hitting on a topic that also is part of our heart, allowing artists to collaborate together and put together a recording that has a bunch of artists collaborating together to put a product forward. We've done that in the past with some Christmas. We may have one coming up in the future. I hope I didn't let the cat out of the bag, but it'd be nice to Uh, but we've had in the past, we've had some Christmas compilations. We've had people submit their songs, and we've produced those, and those are available on GMIHub.ca. But you will see what kind of caliber we're dealing with. Some amazing things. They're all posted on Bandcamp. So gmihub.bandcamp.com. Go check it out today. gmihub.bandcamp.com, and help us just to bless these artists, because really that's about they get the need, not us. It's not for us. So we just want to give them a platform, another platform for them to have their music out there for the public to consume and to get a hold of.
Yeah, and I know there's been kind of, as you kind of hinted, there's kind of the should we do another one? But as we hear the needs,
I should
you
have
know,
said
as we
anything, but yeah.
I know, but you know what? It's all part of the, like, as we have heard, you know, like, this has been, let's talk going to the four corners of the world and what is happening in the music scene. And I think, Andrew, you alluded to it. It's like there's either not a whole lot happening specifically in the scene, but people are traveling to different places, maybe saying, oh, I went to Nashville and I went to these different locations. And yet there are artists all around us that are, they probably have music, they probably are very, very talented, they probably have some great, like, messages that have been downloaded to them and that should be going through them to other people, and yet they have no way of knowing what to do with it. They need that,
Yeah.
they need that support. And so if you're an artist watching, I hope you've learned from all of this that, you know, if you're thinking, oh, I'm in my country, I'm the only one and there's nobody, you know, nobody's going to know my music. Well, guess what? Around the world, there are similar challenges. Opportunities aren't as prevalent, but there's another side. There's always another way to get the music out there. And there are opportunities and organizations that you can connect with that can help bring you into that community that you need, that will help you. As Mary and Andrew said, there is the KMA, which is Kingdom Music. Is that right? Kingdom Music Association. Did I say that right? Kingdom Music Academy. Academy, yeah. Kingdom Music Academy. I'm not familiar with that one, but that's one that they're a part of. There's Canadian Gospel Productions, which does events, and how many events do you do a year roughly, Elio?
We do, I would say 4 to 6.
Yeah. So 4 to 6 events in the year. And that's just one example. We're aware of some other organizations as similar. They run festivals and they run concerts and then all this. But Elio is just one example. That's why I'm highlighting that one, Canadian Gospel Productions. And you've heard about GMI Hub. What we aim to do is we want to give the opportunities, the information, and the knowledge that is needed so that you as an artist or you that is part of the music industry in some way, shape, or form are able to use your giftings and talents and your life to spread the gospel message in whatever
Might I
capacity
just interject
that you're
here?
in.
Right.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
I want you to also realize that we are here for you. If you are an artist, a musician, singer, songwriter, a producer, engineer, if you're in the industry in any capacity, we want to journey with you. You're not alone. Go to gmihub.ca and you can email us right away, and we want to connect with you. We really, really do. We're pretty passionate about this, and we will love to journey with you and help you through. If we can connect you with the right people, if we don't have the answers, we'll make sure we get the answers. So join our team, be a part of the crew, and let's work together for the gospel.
Amen. Amen. I want to say thank you to our guests. Thank you, Elio, for spending the time with us. Thank you, Andrew, for being with us. Thank you, Richard. I think we've lost Richard. I think there was been a power outage or something. But Richard, we miss you if you're there. Thank you so much. And to Mary, thank you so, so much for taking the time to be with us and sharing your heart, sharing, like, giving us a window into your worlds of what you're encountering as musicians, know that we support you. Know that we really appreciate the ministry that comes out of each and every one of you. And if there is anything that GMI Hub can do to help you spread the message more, please don't hesitate to reach out, and know that we're not going to hesitate reaching out to you. So,
just for a second here, one thing I always think about when you have all those frames up, just a second ago, you had all 6 of them up. It may be a Western thing, but I think of the Brady Bunch, the Brady Bunch. You know that show? Every time.
Oh, so shoot, also you're looking down and looking up.
I don't know when my brain goes there. I had to say it.
Thank you to all of you at GMI Hub, because you're doing an amazing work, an amazing job, and we can see the passion, we can see the love of Jesus every time we meet, either online or face to face. I feel privileged to be part of whatever you're doing, and in the name of every artist out there, including me, I want to publicly say thank you to all of you, because you're doing an amazing job. Keep doing it. We need you there.
Thank you. Thank you. I am so encouraged. I'm so encouraged. And for all of you that are watching, thank you. Oh, there's more?
I was just going to say, I was going to wind up by saying thank you for watching, but if you want to help us out by going onto our YouTube channel and liking the video, that would be a big help, and subscribe and all that stuff, because it really makes a difference. What people get to see on YouTube when they look up on Google or whatever, checking out. So it helps us out a lot to get our message forward.
Yeah. And go ahead and share this. Like, this is not a private
Absolutely.
This is not a private session. I mean, this is live, for crying out loud. So go ahead and share this link and let everybody know what's happening. And make sure you come back. And as Dale mentioned, subscribe, you hit that little bell, because anytime we come live, we want you to be one of those people that are able to watch this. We don't want you to miss out. We want you to know that we're here for you. I love what one artist said. It's like GMI says, we see you. That is the message. We see you. And we want to know that you're worth seeing, and you're worth hearing, and you're worth experiencing, as I take the motto from my husband's company. So from all of us to all of you, thank you for joining us. Again, thank you to our wonderful panelists for being here. And we look forward to seeing you next time right here on GMI Hub Online. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.